Ladies and gentlemen, the best thing that y'all can do right now is absolutely nothing. Give me your wig, give me your wig, give me your wig, give me your wig. Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining me for this video. If you did not know, this is a Patreon topic video. What that means is if you go over to patreon.com/AdrianExpression, sign up, you will be able to help me pick some of the topics for these videos. So I presented a bunch of topics to the patrons, and this is the topic that won. Basically, how to keep yourself together. 5 things that you can do to keep your mental health intact while all of this is going on, while all of this social distancing and self-quarantining, isolation, whatever it is. So the reason I think this is very important is because before any of this isolation and social distancing was even going on in response to Miss Rona, that's what I call her, Mrs. Rona, Miss Rona, whichever one you want. Before this was even happening, people are already suffering from, depression. They're suffering from a whole lot of anxiety. There are people who have social anxiety. So on top of everything else, on top of the anxiety because of Miss Rona and what's going on and the lack of leadership, you have health officials, you have government officials asking us to stay our asses home. And it's just like those of us who already suffer with mental health issues, it's gonna be really hard. Like, it's gonna be really hard to do. And I know there's a whole lot of jokes like, oh yeah, introverts, this is our time. But a lot of that isolation stuff can really mess with people's heads, especially, like I said, those who are already prone to mental health problems, mental health issues. Now, I always like to say I'm learning just like everyone else. I do not have all the answers. I'm just trying to look around, do some research a little bit, using some of my own tips to see if I can help out anybody who needs it. And like I said, this is a back and forth type of thing. So if you have tips, please leave them in the comment section for not only other people, but for me, so that I can see what you're doing to deal with this whole isolation and social distancing. So here comes the first one. The first one is, even though you may not be able to see your friends as often or at all as you did before, you know what I mean? Find ways to keep in touch with people online. Find ways to keep, and I know that sounds self-explanatory, but maybe some people are tempted when they go into isolation to just like go into isolation, but just keep in contact with those family members, with those friends. Even if you have to, make it a certain time every day where you call or FaceTime people, or y'all have FaceTime parties or something. I don't know, girl. Like, come up with something so that even while you're isolated, it doesn't feel like you're not talking to anybody and all you're doing is staring at 4 walls or maybe a TV, and that's it, and you're just stuck in a rabbit hole of your mind. Shout out to my overthinkers and perfectionists. You're just, going in the rabbit hole of your mind, thinking about every past mistake that you done made, thinking about the future, the uncertainty of it. That's not healthy, girl. If you don't find somebody to FaceTime, you know what I mean? If you don't find somebody online chat too, girl, I don't care if you're sexting somebody, do something. I'm so serious. Do something, not only to get all this craziness off your mind, but also to keep a healthy flow of communication and to make it so that your brain is not locked up in your apartment for weeks and weeks on end without, speaking to anybody. So the second thing that I suggest, and I know I'm gonna hear a whole lot of groans when I say this, but I suggest making some type of schedule. And I know I don't want to sound like your mama or somebody teacher or something like that, but even if it's not, I'm not talking about, whip out your planner and, whip out your calendar and write down at 9 a.m. I'm gonna do this, at 10 a.m. If you're somebody like that, more power to you, girl. Those type of stringent schedules stress me the hell out. So if you can do it, that's cool with me. But by schedule, even if it's something really vague, even if it's something just in your head, okay, in the morning, I'm going to do this. Maybe I'm going to have breakfast for once in my life. You know what I mean? I'm gonna watch something fun, or I'm gonna write, or I'm going to, like I said before, call a friend in midday. I'm gonna lay my ass down, go to take a nap, or play video games. I don't know. It doesn't have to be something crazy where you're just rationing out every minute of your time, but just give yourself a type of flow, a type of cycle, a loose schedule, so that it won't seem like you're in your house or you're in your apartment for eternity with just twirling around, not knowing what to do next. You know what I mean? I think if you budget your time in a way that is comfortable, but it's also not like, doesn't feel like you're in the military, you're going to basic training or something where your brain can anticipate something else is coming. You keep that flow of energy. I think maybe all the tips I'm about to say are about just keeping that circulation, that energy, that inspiration, that emotion flowing, so you're not just a dead rock in your bed for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. And since I'm over here already talking about a schedule, some of the things that you can put in that schedule are the things that made you happy when you were a kid. So that's my third tip, to just rediscover yourself while all of this is going on. A lot of us have a lot more free time than we used to, whether we like it or not. Some of us have been, our hours have been cut, some of us have been laid off, you know what I mean? But all of us, you know, we have to sit our asses down. We do. So in order to make this time go by a little quicker and to kind of tap into yourself, get to know yourself, rediscover yourself. If you're somebody who like to, I don't know, collect model airplanes like I used to with my nerdy ass. If you're someone who used to like to study the stars, watch some sports, write songs, write poetry, whatever it is that you like to do when you were younger, or things that genuinely made you excited before all the, you know, weight of the world and bills and all of this fell on your shoulders, go back to that. You never know what you may find lying deep within yourself. You may ignite a whole new career path or something, or a new hobby that you didn't even remember that your ass like to do. Just go back, look at the things that gave you inspiration, look at the things that you stopped doing because you didn't have enough time to do it, and just see where it takes you. I mean, you ain't got nothing else to do. Please keep in mind that these pieces of advice are simply that. They're pieces of advice. So when I say them, it doesn't necessarily mean that I do them every single day, or I do them. I may be trying to work on them. The reason why I'm giving this whole, you know, preamble, the reason why I'm giving this whole introduction to this next tip is because this tip involves still staying active. And what I mean by that is, I mean physically, at least get your ass up out the bed. You know, that's it. And because my brain definitely, she's not giving neurotypical teas, I know how difficult just doing that can be. So that's all I'm saying. At the very least, get your ass out of your bed and do something. Staying active physically doesn't necessarily mean running your ass around the block 3, 4 times. But maybe, girl, you know, dance to somebody's album a little bit. Let yourself live and be free in your apartment when nobody's watching. Move around, do some TikToks. Don't publish them. I'm so tired of seeing y'all dance around on these TikToks. Okay, I'm not gonna be shady and mean. If you want to publish them, do it. But just, girl, you know, you see all these people doing these dances and shit on TikTok and all that. You know, they're moving their body. They're making sure that blood is still flowing. So please do that. If you can help yourself avoid sinking into that bed, if that is going to be something that will cause you to overthink, to slide down the rabbit hole, to become depressed. I know there are a whole lot of people, because I feel like if I stay in one place in my bed for too long, it's gonna end up happening. So I'm just speaking from my experience. I know probably some people can relate to it. So if you can, just get your ass up, even if you just, all right, move around and then you're done. That's better than just, like I said, especially if you're someone who's prone to these type of things, sitting in your bed and just sinking in that shit. Get your ass up. And the last one, which I think is one of the most important ones, is to just consume the news for a certain amount of time a day. And that's it, girl. Sit your ass down. Like, consume the news that you need to hear. Okay, girl, this is what happened. This is what I need to do. Maybe just, even if you have to, constrain it to local, what's going on in your actual community and what the guidelines are, who's in charge and what are they telling y'all to do. And that's it. If you're someone whose spirit is disturbed by all of the reports of all these cases, and like I said before in one of my previous videos, I'm like, it's the job of the media to get as many clicks and as many views as possible. So even, they're not talking about the recovered cases. They're not talking about all of that. They're talking about deaths and the spread of cases and stuff. So if that's something that really will disturb your soul and spirit, you don't have to consume all that media. You don't have to. Okay? Just make sure you're taking responsibility for yourself, trying to protect others, doing what actual healthcare officials are saying, because a lot of, like I said before, a lot of this leadership in government is really trash and garbage right now. So just pay attention to the leaders who you think actually care, the healthcare professionals who you can sense are actually know what they're talking about and actually care. Follow the guidelines and sit your ass down, girl. It doesn't make sense for you to be scrolling. Oh, coronavirus. It's just like, okay, for what? For what? I understand that we want to, and we should know. We should be knowing what's going on in the world around us. But it comes to a certain point where it's just like, okay, girl, turn your phone off, or at least close out the app, sit your ass down and paint something, draw something, write something. read something. I'm sorry. Talk to somebody. I'm sorry. It doesn't make sense for you to be sitting here, eyes glued to the screen. What's going on with coronavirus? What's going on? It's not gonna make a difference, sis. It's not gonna make a difference. You need to protect your peace, protect your mind, protect your soul, girl. Protect your spirit. Sit your ass down. Corona's gonna be there in the morning when you wake up. Then you can read the news, figure out what's going on, and then that's it. You know what I mean? You don't have to consume yourself. Be consumed with that shit every single moment of the day. And it's just while you locked up in your house, not getting out of your bed with no schedule, not talking to nobody. You see what I'm saying? No, ma'am. No, ma'am. I don't want that for you, and I don't want that for me. So we're gonna get through this shit together. Hopefully, these are some tips that you can use while all of this stuff, this craziness is going on. Like I said, if you have any tips that you think we could definitely use, and by we I mean the people who are watching this, myself, make sure you leave it in the comments. Again, I want to thank you all so much for watching. Make sure that you sign up to Patreon at patreon.com/AdrianExpression. If you like this video and you want to help me choose the topics for some other ones, make sure you wash them hands. I love you all so much. Make sure that you wash them hands. Sit your ass down. Don't be going to nobody's bar or clubs. They will be there in a couple of months. It's gonna be all right. You're gonna be okay. All my fellow depressed and anxious folks, yes! Good luck to us. Good luck to us. I mean, honestly, I'm just like, I'm used to feeling like this, girl. The world is ending. Oh, just a Monday. But jokes aside, I'm keeping y'all in my thoughts. I know how difficult it can be, especially when you're already struggling with mental health issues. Hopefully some of my tips work for you. Thanks so much for joining me, and make sure that you have a good goddamn evening.